Guys and girls, my goodness, what a day! What a day! We've had a mad couple of hours with getting all the results in from the rankings on Amazon. It's very exciting. We're going to be announcing it on the backstage book launch party. So make sure you get your backsides to the party if you've already signed up. Using that link, if you've signed up with the impactcatalyst.com/change, if you've got your book, then we want you to come backstage and celebrate with us. And we'll be revealing the results then. So this interview is a little bit different. I've been interviewing all of our fabulous catalysts all day, and now it's their turn to get me back. So I'm going to bring them onto the screen with me. I think we can fit everybody on here. But those of you that are tuning in, and even those of you that are on stage, if you could let other people know that we are live, that would be awesome. All right, let's get all these beautiful faces onto the screen. I have no idea what it's going to do, if it's going to let me bring you all up onto the screen with me all at the same time. Give us a wave, guys and girls. We literally have oh, we can hear Hester running down the hallway. Guys and girls, if you could make sure you're muted so that we don't hear any noise in the background, and then we'll kind of bring you up one at a time. And so I'm going to add Hester to the list as well. Wow, what a day! What a day! So I don't know whether to be nervous about this or what, but you know what? We're always up for anything, aren't we? If it ain't fun, we ain't doing it. So I'm going to kick off with, I'm just going to go in order of who was showing up in order backstage there. So Wendy, do you have a question for me?
Oh, first one, be afraid. Actually, I'm just going to go really easy on you. Our whole program is centered around fears. What's your fear?
The whole program is based on fears.
What's your fear?
What's my fear? My fear is getting to the end of my life. Gosh, feeling quite choked now. Sue and I talk about this when we go walking on Saturday mornings. My fear is getting to the end of my life, not having made the impact that I was born to make, not fulfilling my purpose and God's calling on my life, and having regret. Regret is one of the biggest fears for me. You know, we really aim to live a regret-free life. It's, you know, it's, one of you said it on the interviews. Will I regret this? I think it was Jacqueline. Will I regret this if I don't do it? And that is such a good outlook and a great reminder. And so, yeah, my biggest fear is regret.
Wow, thank you very much. I don't think with everything that you do and the impact that you make that there's any danger that you'll go with any regrets. I don't think.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. I hope this is gonna we're gonna get through all the questions. We've got 25 minutes. Wendy, thank you for your question. That was gorgeous. Lisa, lovely Lisa. Do you have a question?
Sammy, well, first of all, congratulations on what has been a marathon done in the speed of a sprint. And it just has been a fabulous energy that we've all worked together. We've all loved on each other. But I know that doing something with such dedication and such great spirit requires discipline. And so, and discipline requires a bit of sacrifice. And I'm just wondering, and we know the value of our yes is enhanced by the degree of our no. So I'm just wondering, what is the best thing? And this can be in the last 3 weeks or ever. You decide whichever is going to be the most interesting. Maybe the best thing you've said no to that has ultimately resulted in a high value, unintended outcome.
Wow, that is a holy frickadoodles question. Great question. I don't think I've ever been asked that question in thousands of interviews. Well done. Lisa gets the award for best question so far, for sure. Not that your question wasn't good, Wendy. It's good.
Listen, I was just going easy on you. That won't happen for the next one. So carry on. Crack on.
Everybody else is looking to eye.
They're all rewriting their questions.
Wendy, Rosie wants to come in.
We can't fit Rosie in at the moment. It's we'll bring her on in a moment. So right, okay. What is the thing that I've said no to that led to the best outcome, the best yes? Is that what?
Ultimately, yeah, that gave you a high value outcome. Yeah.
Thing I said no to. Wow. I'm gonna say off the top of my head, but I'm gonna reflect on this. I'm gonna chew on this as I fly from Heathrow back to Texas tomorrow. I would say saying no to comfort, because guys and girls, if you could mute, because I can hear some typing or something in the background. So Greg and I, most of you know this. Greg and I just had a very easy, lovely lifestyle, living on the water on our houseboat, running our masterminds all over the world and adventuring. We loved our adventures, and we had a very easy going life, really. We were still publishing, and I know Wendy, who's my boat bestie, would probably say no, she definitely never rested. But that was my rest. This is my rest. This is like I just get so vibed up on doing things like this. This is my joy. This is my peace. Putting my head on the pillow at night and saying, "Wow, we made an impact today. Like that was awesome. Like, phew, what's going to happen when I hit the ground tomorrow?" I was still like that on the boat, but I think we just chilled because we'd had such a mental 7 years in the lead up to lockdown that I think through lockdown we just went, the pressure cooker, and so we got comfortable. We got really comfortable, and when God comes a knocking and you say yes to the opportunity, you have a choice to say no. But you also have a choice to say yes. And our yes was to God and our no was to comfort. And that was the best no that we've ever said, because it led us on the amazing adventure that we've been on so far. And we just keep saying yes to the things that are really calling us forward. We keep saying yes to what we call those Holy Spirit moments. And since we started saying no to more of the material stuff, I suppose, the material things, we've had the millions and we felt spiritually bankrupt. And so, saying no to the material things can feel a bit uncomfortable, because much of our young life, for many of the people that I know anyway, we spent so many years working for the material things, the car, the house, all those material things, that to say no to those and say yes to a calling that is pure faith, because you can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't reach out and grasp it. I think that would probably be the best no. The best no that we've ever said. No to comfort and yes to the calling on our lives. And who knows where it will go, but I tell you what, it's been an adventure, and I'm sure it's just going to get wilder. Does that answer your question, Lisa?
Yeah, it's a brilliant answer. Thank you, darling.
Oh, thank you. I love you. I appreciate you so much. You're like, I just want to reach out and squeeze all of your cheeks. Okay, Rosie. So let's see if we can get Rosie back on. For some reason, she went back. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Add to stage. Will it let me? It was saying I couldn't add you. Rosie, do you have a question for me, darling?
Yes, I do. I don't know why I tried to mute myself and then I got chucked out. So I don't know how that happened. Anyway, my question is, when did you realize that you have the power to move not only the people within your own circle, but to inspire others to move with you?
Crikey, gosh, you bunch, you've been thinking about these questions, I think. Wow, when did I realize? I don't know that I ever really did. It's a bit like what Bar said in her interview earlier. You know, like Bar, I just set out with an intention to love on people. Greg was listening to an interview a few months ago, and I said to Wendy, "Oh my gosh, this is so us as an organization." This woman, Elizabeth Oldfield is her name, and she asks this question: "How can I love you more?" And I said to Wendy, we've got to do that, like with our members, with our clients, ask, how can I love you more? And I think I just always have been like that. And so I guess I kind of get it from my mum. My mum is a natural community builder. Wherever she goes, no matter where she is like a honeypot. Like if she starts a dance class, all of a sudden people are traveling in for hours to get to her dance class. She started a craft and pottery class. Now she's got a whole studio, and she has students come in every week that travel all across France to get to her classes because they love it so much. Like whatever she does, she just attracts people. And I think I maybe just caught that. I think the thing that makes, I guess the thing is I'm not trying. Because I'm not trying, I think maybe that's why I do attract. You know, it's really interesting, Rosie. It's such a good question because looking back over the most successful times in any of our businesses, it's always been when I've not been trying. So when I ran that very first challenge in 2017, I only ran it because I thought, you know, my Facebook group's got 732. I remember all the numbers. My group's got 732 members in it, and I seem to be doing all the work. Surely a community is supposed to be, you know, vibrant and supporting it itself as well as me supporting it. What can I do? And so I ran this challenge purely not knowing what I was doing. And I thought, you know, I'd started writing a book at that point, which I still haven't published because I got so busy. And it was, I just took 30 days from the book that I'd written, and I delivered that for 30 days. I just, you know, 30 days, I just did something else, and 15 minutes, here you go do this, come back and report, let me know how you got on. And so it was a brand building challenge. And by the end of that challenge, I'd gone from 732 members to over 3,500 members in that group in just 30 days. And I didn't collect any names or emails or anything. I didn't do any of the stuff that I teach everyone else because I really didn't expect that it would do. I was just doing it to have fun and to make sure that others had fun. And by the end of that process, I thought, oh my gosh, you know, I really should be now collecting emails and everything. So I set up all the systems. I created the funnels. I launched a membership. Well, like that wasn't easy because all of a sudden I was doing it for a different reason and a different motivation. So I don't know if I've answered your question in that when did I know? I suppose I don't really look at myself that way. I suppose I get a bit embarrassed when I think about things like that because I think it's not really what I intended to do. But I guess the more I do it to love you more, the bigger it gets without me trying. But when I try, it stays where it is. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. And if you remember, just this week we were talking about leaders. What's a leader and what's an icon? And the iconic person is the person who inspires and motivates and gets people moving.
That was such a good post, Rosie. I loved it, and I was so grateful for it. Yeah, because it's been a hard 3 weeks bringing everything together, and so to read things like that just warms my heart and reminds me, yes, this is why we keep doing it. So thank you for your question. I appreciate you. Martin, come on up. Martin with his
Hello.
flashy lights. He's got to train me how to do all the busy stuff.
That's the easy bit. Always the easy bit. But yeah, it was interesting to hear when you started speaking that you were kind of feeling a bit nervous and unsure about what was going to be said here. And I know nerves are a really interesting feeling because it kind of means this matters, and that's obviously a big thing. And when I talk to a lot of people and coach people, just get them to recognise that that's something that's important that's going on in their life. And as you know from the book and the various conversations we've had, the one thing I like to ask people is, what are the kind of the deep things that they really value in life? The top 3 things that get them out of the bed, that kind of motivate them, that keep them going effectively, the reason why they do what they do. So I'd just like to ask you that same question here. What is like don't go for 3, let's just go for the 1. What is the top reason? What gets you out of bed every day?
It's such a good question. I think it comes back to actually the same answer that I gave. Was it Wendy that said, what is my fear? It's the same thing, actually. I get out of bed because I know that I was born to make an impact. I know that I'm meant to. I know it's inside me. It is something that is bigger than me. God planted a vision seed in me that we all have that vision seed, and it's what you do with it. And I intend to do as much as I possibly can with mine and make sure that it grows. And so, I just am so motivated that there's not really a day that I feel like laying in bed, because I feel like I want to be up. I want to be doing the work that I've been called to do. And so that highest core calling is about the purpose and the mission. It is tough because it does mean, going back to Lisa's question, it means you have to say no to things. And for those of you that have read our other book, 1 Year No Fear, you will have read the story about when Greg and I were thinking about like getting together, and I was very nervous, actually. Going back to Wendy's question, I had a lot of fear. I had a lot of fear around it because I just really started to get traction in the movement that I was building, and I feared that every relationship I'd had before had ended in an ultimatum, that it was him or the business. And I thought, I love Greg. I don't want to put him through that. I know that I'm called for this, and there is nothing that can stop me. As much as I love the people around me, it is important that together we fulfill the mission. I'd rather do it together rather than on my own. But that was a really tough conversation for Greg and I to have quite early on. For me to say, look, this is really important, and I'd love you to be a part of it, but I don't want to hurt you in the way that my other relationships have been hurt. So I guess that's the no and the yes thing again, is really having that conversation. But you know what? Greg is such an awesome coach, for those of you that have been coached by Greg, because he said to me, well, I know you haven't had the evidence. We look for evidence, right? I know you haven't had the evidence that relationships work when you're in business together or whatever, but maybe there is some evidence. Who do you know? Who do you know that does have a successful relationship, that, they're flying high, they're achieving the impact they want to make in the world, and they've got a solid relationship? Like, who can we model that has that? And that was such a good question. And we wouldn't be together today if it hadn't have been for him asking that. So, wow. I think it's very challenging when you are in a relationship and you want that love relationship and you love them so much. And you also know that you're here to fulfill God's mission, not your own. And so when you can bring the two things together, heaven. Absolute heaven. It's the same thing with Sue and her husband Sam, just such a solid unit that both have individual careers, super successful, but the way they come together, they are my model for a successful relationship. So guys, watch those. Watch that lovely couple. Did I answer your question, Martin?
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you for that.
Thank you. That was such a good question. Oh my gosh, how are we doing? We've got 10 minutes. Right. Jacqueline.
Hello there, Sammy.
Hello.
Hi, everybody as well. I'd just like to say a great big huge thank you, Sammy, for putting this together and making it happen. And with all the other visionaries as well. We've all worked really well and hard, but you've been our beacon. You really have. Thank you for that. And when you had this idea, which was only a couple of weeks ago now, and you were so determined to make it happen, and you carried that throughout the whole of the exercise. The summit was going to happen, the release of the book was going to happen, it was going to be a #1 best-selling author. It's just amazing. And something we spoke about when you interviewed me, besides the regret, was a lot of business owners fear that something won't work out, so therefore they never take that leap of faith. Has there ever been a time in your business life where you had that kind of doubt, maybe at the early stages?
I would say, like, certainly through lockdown, that was the hardest. I think what I would say is, and I would really want to reflect on this again as well. I would say I've always been so driven, but it's the things I've been driven by which have caused fear or not. It goes back to, like, a lot of these back to the other questions I've answered. When I've had my biggest fear is when I've got something to protect or defend. So like, we've got to run this campaign, it's got to work, it's got to be successful, or, like, I've been really trying to do it for a material gain. Well, that then, when you're working to numbers, when you're constantly trying to achieve numbers, then even when you achieve the numbers, you're not happy, because then you want to achieve the bigger one next time, and then the next time, and then the next time. And so I was very spiritually depleted when I focused on those things. And I would say there was a lot of fear around money when I was doing that. And that also was born from the kind of people that I had around me as well at that time, who were very success oriented, very money oriented, financially motivated. And I became like that. And it just isn't me. It's not me. And so the identity I had to try and keep up with actually was harder than anything. And I think, when we started traveling around the world and speaking and being on documentaries and running stuff, I realized pretty early on that when I'm not trying, that's when it's growing. And so I stopped trying to be somebody and started focusing on what is the ROI, the ripple of impact. What is the ripple of impact that can be created from this? And as soon as I started focusing on that, quite a few of those little gremlins, they started to go away, and I wasn't focused on those so more. But I think it's such a good question. When it comes to like, we built everything up and we were flying high, and then lockdown hit and we pretty much lost our business. And that was really hard, and that was so hard. And I would say there was real hesitancy in me starting anything again. I really got knocked by that, because, I guess, like, I don't know, there's a feeling, there's an emotion when you're making an impact, and you're on a wave, you're on a roll, and everything is easy, and the people you're attracting is easy, and the opportunities are easy, and everything's easy and in flow. And then, global pandemic, everybody's like, whoa, hang on, we're all in the dark here, we're all trying to find where we're at. And I would say, like, making the decision to
Okay.
Yeah, I think probably we might have lost you there a little bit, but I think, it was a challenging time for so many businesses, lockdown. They felt they had to start again, or they didn't. I mean, I can remember one of my clients, who was guy's 52. He said, I'm 35. I was 35 when I started my business. I don't think I've got the energy to start again. But, we're not starting again, because during that time, we've had so much knowledge and so much experience that we can just transfer to another way of working during that time. And I felt very privileged to work with lots of businesses during lockdown. So I understand where you're coming from, Sammy. Definitely.
Yeah. As we are waiting for her to come back, there's a saying, every crisis bring out an opportunity for miracle, right? And as we were all locked down, I'm like, we were stuck at home. But that's when everybody went on social media and things. And believe it or not, I got like literally, I have gained so many friends during COVID, stuck at home, but globally connection, global connection.
Yeah.
And there are so many things that came out of that crisis that is good.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. I say that even though it closed a lot of things down, it also opened a lot of things up.
Yes.
And businesses gained from that, because if they hadn't changed the way they were operating, or even their business models, or who they were doing business with and how they were doing business, if they hadn't made those changes, they wouldn't have those additions to their business now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There she is.
Yes.
I don't
back.
know what happened. Honestly, your questions were too hard.
That's all right. We carried on with one another.
Brilliant. I know I could rely on you guys. I don't know what you heard, or like, did you hear everything I said?
It was certainly about the lockdown. You found that the most challenging, and why?
Yeah.
And we kind of carried on the conversation from there, actually. So, it was a challenge. Let's face it, we've never had a world pandemic, had we? Not in our lifetime, anyway.
No, it was just so unknown. So yeah, that was the biggest, I think, thing, was deciding if I was going to stay in the comfort of only getting half dressed to turn up for meetings. Like, how many of you wore your pajama bottoms underneath, but you had like a smart top on or whatever? It was like staying in the comfort of that, or deciding that there was a bigger world out there, and the impact is calling me. So that was what I would say.
That's brilliant. Well done for making the decision to carry on.
Oh, thank you. That's a great question. I think we've got time for one more quick one. Anya, I think you were next.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I'll try and be quick. It was going to be one very similar to Rosie. So I thought I'd just delve a little deeper. And your big value is championship of others at all times. And then you got the biggest heart, and you support everybody. And you were made for this impact. If there was a defining moment from your childhood that really has affected you, what would it be around this?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I can tell it in 60 seconds. Basically, all right, we're gonna go. When I was in the playground at 5 years old, so what would I have been in, like, the infant school? I was always bigger, as in fatter, wider, plumper than all the other kids, ever since I was a kid. And I saw in the playground there was this group of girls that were playing the skipping rope game, with the 1 2 3 1 2 3, and they were all playing the jumping over the thing. Well, the break time came, and for us in our classroom, because we were looking out at them, and when our teacher let us out, I went running onto the playground to go and play with these girls, and one of them put their hand up to my face and said, "Go away, fatso, you're too fat to play with us." And I didn't know until, it was actually when I was on a documentary, and this whole thing, this came up, that's why I know this answer, it was really interesting. It was like, from that moment, I decided, hang on, like, this identity is not who I am. This is not who I am. And I guess from a very early age, I understood the power of branding. And so it was almost like I set out on a mission as a crusade to stop other people being branded by others. Like, brand yourself, take control of that label. And so in a long, very long experience, summed it down into that one thing, that really shaped me, that defined me. That was a defining point in my life, that when I remembered that, when that surfaced, I thought, wow, that is actually one of the reasons I do what I do. I don't want anybody to feel that they have an identity that's been kind of branded into them. As you all know, for those of you that have gone through the branding process with me, like Martin, I branded Martin's business about 15 years ago. It's about including you in the process. You should be a part of the branding process, rather than going to an agency, them having do it for you, which is why I do what I do the way I do it. Does that make sense, Anya?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I totally understand. It is those painful moments that can change and shape our lives. So yeah, thank you for sharing that so vulnerably.
Absolutely does. It does. Well, I want to stay and answer all the other questions that we've got here, but we'll have to do another session. That's what we'll do. We'll do another session where you can ask those of you that didn't get a chance to ask me a question. We'll do that because we need to go backstage for our after show party. So guys and girls, thank you so much for joining me and for saying yes to the adventure. I'm sure that other adventures, little adventure babies, are being born, like literally, like Holy Spirit downloads are downloading every single morning while I'm here. So wait till I get back to Texas and I'll formulate that while I'm on the plane, I'm sure, because when you get the idea, when he says now, it means now. So I'm sure you'll be hearing from me. But guys and girls that have been tuning in with us all day, we really value you. We love you. We appreciate you. We thank you for buying the book, for supporting the promotion of the book. The Young Minds charity that's been chosen for us to support with all the proceeds from the book. Like every book we launch, we don't take the money from that. We put the proceeds to charity. So let's keep the momentum going. Let's keep sharing the book. Let's keep buying it for Christmas presents. Let's keep that momentum going, because lives get changed on the other end of your impact, not just the impacts that you make, but the ripples that go beyond that too. So we're going to say goodbye now, and we're going to go backstage on Zoom. If you've bought the book, if you've gone and signed up to the link that's on the screen, you should have received an email with the Zoom link. So guys and girls, I will see you backstage. All right, take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Sammy, thank you.
Bye.